All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another one of my drip talks with Blake the Snake Roberts. Uh, this is actually probably my official interview back from my long break, as last week it didn't go planned as connection, and I'm also in a different spot now. But my special guest today, he is a former pro wrestler and referee. He wrestled as an enhancement for WWF and AWA, also wrestled for UWF and many other independent promotions outside of them. He is no other than Todd Becker, also known as Todd Christie. So we will get him on in here and we will start on with this interview.
What are we doing? How are we doing, Blakester?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. We finally got connected, right?
Yes, finally.
Yes. You're in a new spot now?
Yes, I used. This is my first time in this in my room. I used to be in a different room, so yeah.
Okay. Got chased out of one and put into another?
Just like connection problems. So I just had to try something else different.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So other than from that, how are you doing now?
Fantastic. Things are good. I'm in the mostly in the car business and real estate business now. So I own a dealership, automobilenation.com in the Minneapolis area. And I also have a bunch of real estate in the state and then some down in Florida as well. So, yeah, other than that,
Sweet.
everything's good. Thank God.
Nice. Yeah.
Body's still in one piece, too, you know?
Yeah. That's a good thing as well. So.
Yes.
So I'll start off by asking you my first question, which is, when did you start doing wrestling? What made you want to do it?
You know, I was always a wrestler and probably started in like third grade, fourth grade when I was a kid. I wrestled throughout my elementary, high school years. And I got into, of course, I was training, lifting, and I had some guys that wanted me to get into it. And then I was working out with, I'm not sure, okay, you know Jerry Lynn? You know who Jerry Lynn
Yes.
is?
Yep.
Okay. Well, if you ask Jerry Lynn why he's in the wrestling business, it's because of me. So we joined together, we trained together. Tom Burton, I don't know if you know that name. What was he? The Dirty White Boys out of the South.
Oh, okay. Yep.
He went through training camp with us, so we all got together, and we knew Brad Range had a training camp in Hamel, Minnesota. And I don't know if are you familiar with Brad Range?
Yep.
Brad Range was a Pan American gold medalist in the Greco-Roman in the Olympics, and he was also a silver medalist in, I believe, was it the 1976 Olympics? And I think he was going to go in 80, and they got boycotted back then. But that's the same guy that trained Brock Lesnar. So Brad,
Wow. Yeah.
Brad always trained or normally trained a lot of the AWA talent. So if the Ganyas had somebody they wanted to get trained in, they'd send them to Brad. And Brad is he's like a grizzly bear. I mean, the guy is incredibly strong and very disciplined. So if you want to get trained by the best, that would be Brad, you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
Great guy.
Oh, yeah. There's also like Eddie Sharkey out there who did numerous names of trainers.
Yeah. He's quite a character. Yeah, Eddie's a good guy. Obviously, he trained the Road Warriors. I have a picture of Hawk and I on the wall here, but yeah, he was around a lot of talent, and he was one of the other trainers in the area. You know, so a lot of wrestlers, obviously, came out of the Minneapolis. The Rick Rudes, the Mr. Perfects, the Ganyas. Demolition, Barry Darso. Yes, a lot of guys come out of this town. So, quite a bit of talent in Minneapolis.
Yes, there is. And like such as like Brock Lesnar, and a lot of them have hit the top now, like are really achieving things.
Yeah. Brock Lesnar, actually, Brock Lesnar bought a farm up kind of. I'm up from the Alexandria, Minnesota area, and actually, Brock's up there now. He purchased a farm, and I think he's got two sons that play hockey up in Alec, and I think his daughter was from Alec there too. But I think she's in like Colorado doing. She's in college doing shot put or something. She's a remarkable lady too. But yeah, Brock's up in Alexandria quite a bit. I think he sold his farm to his dad, but he's always up in that area too. So
Interesting, yeah.
quite a specimen he was, right?
Yeah. And then SummerSlam's coming to Minnesota in like 2026, so I could see him returning there.
Yes, yeah, it's it would be great to see him perform there as well. So quite a performer, quite an athlete. I'm sure a lot of the guys, anybody that was around him knows, incredible athlete and able to do a backflip the size that he is. Yeah, he's incredible.
Definitely, yeah. What age were you when you officially knew you wanted to become a wrestler?
You know, I think I got trained when I was 20. Went through Brad Rain's training camp when I was about 20 years old. So actually, I was working for the AWA when I was 21. I was probably the youngest guy
Hmm.
in the AWA, and probably one of the youngest guys. I know Kurt Henning was another guy that was really young when he got in there, and of course Greg Gagne. But yeah, 21 wrestling for the AWA, and then 21 years old flying out to Vegas wrestling at the Showboat, doing. We used to do the TV tapings out at the Showboat Sports Pavilion in the Las Vegas. So we'd probably fly out there every month. That went on for a while, but eventually we moved to the Mayo Civic Center in Rochester. That's normally where we did a lot of our television tapings. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Do
And
you have
so,
a favorite from the Minneapolis area, Blake?
I mean, Minnesota is right next to me because I'm in Wisconsin. So, uh,
Did you ever have
probably.
Tom Rocky Stone on your show at all? Did you ever get a hold of him?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep, I
yeah,
have.
yeah. He's a great guy. Spent a lot of time with him. He's a good man.
Yep, yeah, I seen you had some matches with him, and then Frankie DeFalco's coming on this week. I seen that you
Yeah,
had some matches
Frankie.
with him too.
Yeah, he's on Thursday, I think, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of good guys. We used to when we do television tapings. A lot of the Stones, they call them Stones guys, and I was eventually one of Stones guys when we worked for the Monday Night Raw. We do television, and we would travel with Tom Stone and the bunch. So a lot of good memories with Tom. I should
Definitely.
say
Yeah.
Steve, right? Steve, I think that's his
Yeah.
real Steve. Yeah, right on.
Yeah. I'm not sure of his real name because I think on his Facebook it says Tom Stone.
Right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It throws you off when you hear his real name, but good man.
Yes. Like for a lot of the wrestlers, like when you hear their real name, it's like, that's weird.
Yeah, you would never expect a name like that, right? Yes.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
some of them, like, how did they even come up with this wrestling name? It doesn't even match their real name, or sometimes you think about that.
Right, right. Um, what is it? The new girl here from Prior Lake that is wrestling. Um, oh my gosh, what is her name? Tiffany. She's wrestling. She's some of the new talent in the
Oh, Tiffany
WWE.
Stratton.
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton. Yeah, right, right. She went to high school with my daughter. Um, and
Oh,
yeah,
really? Yeah. Wow.
yeah. I think she's doing well. She looks great. She's quite an athlete. So best of luck to her. Let's hope she does
Mm-hmm.
well. So rough business. I
Yeah.
hope she makes. Hope she makes it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she's one of my favorites right now. So yeah, and then I'm going to be interviewing her dad
Oh, really?
September 29th. Yeah,
Okay. Fantastic.
yeah. So that should be pretty interesting because he's a musician down in Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
That's I didn't know that. Didn't
Yeah,
know
he's
that.
played in tribute bands like for Kiss, Metallica, and Megadeth.
Oh, really? All
Hmm.
good bands, right? Those are all
What?
good bands. Those are all good bands.
Oh yeah, Kiss is my favorite band.
Oh, is that right? Wow, really? Most guys your age have
Yep.
no idea who Kiss is, but yeah. I was a Kiss freak when I was about your age. Yes, I was very big back
Yeah,
then.
I got to see them on their final tour recently in Crandon, Wisconsin for their final tour that they were just doing.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, and that was my first Kiss concert. So it was
Can
really
you,
fun.
can you name the four starting members?
Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley.
Very good. Yeah, you got it.
Yep.
Good
And now they
job.
have Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. So
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a great band.
definitely. So, did you watch wrestling as a kid? If so, who was like your favorite wrestler growing up?
You know what? That's a good question. You know what? The big thing growing up, I was a farm kid, and every Sunday was a big day. Sunday morning, of course, wrestling starts at noon. Was it noon? Yeah, I think it was noon. Anyways, we'd go to church at 11. Okay, so church gets done at 11:45, 11:50. So we'd have to fly home, drive like
Mm.
crazy, get in front of the TV. I think everybody did it back then because everybody
Yeah,
was big
right.
wrestling fans. And you had to get glued to the TV at 12 o'clock when the show started because you didn't want to miss anything, you know. And one of the talents that I really enjoyed was he was more of an interviewer than a wrestler, but Jesse the Body was always a big
Mm.
favorite of mine. He was quite an entertainer. I mean, he looked great. He spoke great. Wasn't your Kurt Hennig wrestler, but he was definitely a showman. You know, so he was one of the great ones. Yes, he's probably one
Yeah,
of
I
the better.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just recently did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. So
Oh,
yeah,
he did. He's down in the
yeah,
Baja. Isn't he down in the Baja? Nobody can get a hold of him, or nobody can find him. Yeah,
yeah,
I watched
right.
some of
Yeah,
it.
he's. Go
He's
ahead.
quite a, he's quite a character. Yes,
He
we
is.
did. I don't know. There was a gym called in the Twin Cities called the Gym, and Jim Younger owned it. It was some of the biggest gyms in the Twin Cities, and the Road Warriors used to work out there. Um, Wayne the Train Bloom, a lot of big names used to work out there. But we had an open house one time, and not sure if this was a setup or not, but I know Wayne the Train and Jesse the Body didn't like each other, or they didn't get along well. So I think what was it? Jesse went into one of the back rooms there, and Wayne confronted him, and you can hear things banging and throwing. And Jesse came out, grabbed his wife, and went out the door. And then Wayne came up after him, but not sure if that was a setup or if that was the real deal. But it had everybody's attention. But yes,
Crazy.
crazy stuff. Yes.
I'm surprised to hear about that. Hear about that from Wayne because there's not many stories about him. He's also like a hidden gem as well. You don't really
You know
hear
what?
much about him.
Wayne the Train was my strength coach, and
Oh, really?
yeah, he was my strength coach going in with Brad. So Brad and Wayne were pretty tight, and he did all our strength training. And actually, my first match with the AWA was with Wayne the Train. and we were actually, I mean, he just started wrestling himself, and he was a great wrestler. He was plenty of talent. But our first show was in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is Omaha. It's like a suburb of Omaha. And I drove down there with Baron von Raschke, which was turned out to be kind of like a second father to me. I spent a lot of time with Baron, me, and then I went down there and I had to wrestle Wayne on my first match. Of course, it's your first match and you're nervous. And
Yeah,
Baron,
definitely.
yeah, definitely nervous. And Baron goes, "What's the matter, kid?" And I said, "Well, it's my first match. I don't want to mess up. I want everything to go great." He goes, "Go have fun." So the match turned out great. And everything was easy because, of course, I've been training with Wayne for quite some time. So great match. And then he had to report back to the Ganyas how I did, and he said it was fantastic. So ever since then, I was normally pretty busy with the AWA. So thanks to Baron. But it's funny with Baron because after a lot of times we go after the matches, he goes, "Hey, want to get some beers? So you want to go get a case of beer?" Okay. So he drinks 20 and I drink 4. Because, of course, I got to drive him
Jeez.
home. Yes. So he puts them down. I mean, I don't even think I drank 4, but he drank 20 of them. And then, of course, on the way back to Minneapolis, he'd be laying by the window, and then his big head would come down and he'd be laying on my shoulder. And I'd have to push him back to the window. But the whole trip back was trying to keep his head towards the window because he's such a big guy. Great man, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baron is one of my, and actually, Jesse the Body and Baron was probably one of my favorites, because he was just such a great entertainer, great guy. Everybody loved him. So, yeah, and to this day, he's still a spectacle. He's a wonderful guy.
Definitely
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
did you know that he was also a substitute teacher? Did you know that?
Oh, really? No, I didn't.
Yeah, Baron was a substitute teacher here in Prior Lake. All the kids used to get a kick out of that. And then he also he was in real estate. He worked for, I think, Edina Realty. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt the real estate. They're like almost all the wrestlers after wrestling. Most of the wrestlers I see are in real estate now.
Is that right?
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I'm in real estate, so that probably explains a little bit.
Oh,
of it.
really?
So, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Quick money or easy money, maybe that's what it is.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you watch The Business now? If so, is there any of you like favorites that you see on TV now of any company?
I don't see much of. I mean, I watch the WWE only because that's kind of where I was, and Triple H, a lot of the guys that are still there, the new talent. I don't really keep up on some of the new talent. I mean, it's very showman-like. However, the storylines and keeping you interested in what's going on. I mean, they had such a. I'm sure everybody knows and everybody will agree that the '90s, the late '80s to '90s, the wrestlers, the stories, it was exciting. I just can't seem to. A lot of these angles aren't really making sense. I mean, the new ones now with Cody Rhodes and The Rock, and that angle is actually pretty good. But I think you're missing a lot of the storylines. AWA used to do a lot of great storylines too, and you turn it into, obviously it's a soap opera, and people would be really interested in finding out what's going to happen the next week. And I think this day and age you don't really see that so much. I think the writers a little more. Had a little more storyline back in the day. I think we're kind of
Yeah, I
missing.
think so.
Yeah, I think, and then like All Elite Wrestling, they're I think they're doing. I think they're even doing better on some of the storylines over there. That's I hope they're doing well. But what I've seen, the storylines seem to make a little more sense and have a little more interest. Actually, I think Jerry Lynn is Jerry Lynn. He's working there. I can't remember if he's part of the writing or something in there. I know he's working there. I think a friend of mine's his daughter's with his daughter. So yeah, best of luck to him.
I'm pretty sure you might be working as like a trainer too there.
Yeah, could be. He was a really good athlete. We did a lot of training tapes together with Jeremy. So, yeah, good athlete. Very good athlete.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was there anybody who possibly inspired you, like family wise and also wrestling wise, to get into the business?
You know what? Most of the family, of course, whose family wants their kids getting involved in violent behavior like the business is. I mean, my mom thought I was nuts. My parents thought I was crazy, but I actually had a brother. I mean, we all wrestled. There was 3 boys. I was the middle boy. We all wrestled, but my younger brother would be more happen to be an interest in what I was doing with wrestling. But for the most part, they all thought I was nuts, which probably isn't the truth. So you have to be a little bit crazy to be in the business, reckless, crazy. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. Yes, but it definitely takes a different breed. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree. Because there's a lot of wrestlers.
Right. Yeah, you have to be a half a bubble off to be in the business, and it's rough, it's brutal, but you get addicted to it. You get addicted to the pain, the damage, the road, the road life, But I mean, you can't do that forever. It's really hard on the body.
Definitely, yeah. Who would you say has been like the stiffest wrestler you have gone in the ring with so far in your career?
Boy, I think the stiffest I would have to think. Well, you know what? Those Samoans were awfully stiff. Holy smokes, those guys would lay it in there. There was no training. There was no acting. There was nothing there. I mean, it was the real deal. And they hit you hard, and it was stiff. So I'd say some of the Samoans were that way. Um, who else? Who else was stiff? Nobody wanted to wrestle them. What was it? Sims. What am I trying to think? Oh my gosh, he was part of the tag team. Sims. He hit really hard too. Or Simmons. It's been too long. He was
Ron Simmons.
Ron Simmons. Yeah, yeah. He hit really hard. But you just had to get used to it. Oh, you know who was another one? Yokozuna. That guy.
Oh, really?
That guy. Yes. Yeah, he was amazing. But I mean, actually, yeah, he hit you pretty hard. But he'd hit you hard. But good guy. He tried not to, but he was just such a big guy. And of course, it did a thing where I'd have to, set up to where he can kick me in the head, and then I think he dropped his butt cheek on the side of my head or something. But and then of course at the very end he does the bonsai. He goes in the corner and he sits on you.
Oh.
He jumps up in the second rope and he sits on you, and then they do a promo. They got the camera right in his face, and he says, I think he says bonsai or something. But he sits on you, and he don't pick his weight up. You've got 500 pounds plus on your chest. And he's doing the promo, and he's not lifting up. He's laying on you, man. So I was trying to pinch him in the butt when he was sitting on me. He wasn't moving. I think he thought it was pretty funny, but he would just sit on the guys and put you through some pain. But overall, he's a good guy. He was always a nice guy. He's just so big. But there's a lot of guys out. A lot of guys that are stiff, and it seems like they never were really trained. So
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, I heard from some other wrestlers that Yokozuna was good with the bonsai drop because when he bonsai dropped, he held onto the ropes and he didn't put his whole weight.
You know what? When he came down, yeah, the bonsai wasn't so bad, but when he did the promo, he just sat on it. He did the promo. He didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because when he did the bonsai, it wasn't so bad, but when he did the promo and he just sat on you, and that promo, what is it? 10, 15, 20 seconds. He's sitting on you. You can't breathe. That's a big dude. you know. So if you can't
Dang.
breathe for that, I mean, especially breathing heavy, wrestling him, and then him sitting on you after the match, it's a lot of weight there.
Yeah. And it doesn't help that it's after the match, after you're trying to breathe, after all wrestling that whole time. I mean,
Right? Yeah, your cardio is pumped up. You're kind of hard to
yep.
drop and not breathe for 20 seconds.
Right. Trying to catch your breath as it is, even if you weren't getting sat on or.
Right. Yeah.
Because I also heard Vader was not stiff; he was just rough in the ring.
Yeah, I never was around Vader too much. Matter of fact, Vader was trained by Brad. And I
Hmm.
believe he trained by Brad. Vader used to do walk on his hands in the ring with Brad or something. He'd hand walk, as big as that guy was. Leon the Baby Bull White, yeah, he would walk around on his hands around the ring. Yeah, he was incredibly strong. I never did a wrestle with him, but yeah, strong guy. Um,
Oh wow!
Definitely, yeah. And I did hear he's well. I heard he's pretty stiff, but I guess I couldn't. I couldn't tell you for sure because I never did wrestle.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was somebody that mentioned that they watched you recently in a match for with Adam Bomb for I
Oh
think it was Superstars.
yeah. Adam Baum
If
is
you
fantastic. Yeah, Adam Baum, Brian Clark. I think his real name is Brian Clark.
correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
fantastic. He was in the AWA with me. We had the Barons Blitzers Team Challenge Series, if you're familiar with that. Sergeant Slaughters, and then it was Larry Zabisco's Larry's Legends. But
Mm-hmm.
what was he back there? Oh my gosh, he had a different name. And he did an angle with Yukon John. We did a tug of war match. We did some other types of stuff with him. But yeah, and then Adam, I work with Adam, of course, at Monday Night Raw with him, and he's a fantastic guy, fantastic worker. Guy knows what he's doing. He is a professional, and a lot of these guys don't know what they're doing, and they don't care. They'll drop you on your head. But he was a professional. Great guy though. But I really enjoy. I'm actually friends with him on Facebook, and I kind of keep a little bit of contact with him. But just a wonderful guy. Did I lose you, Blake? Blake, and we're back. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. That's the connection problem kicked me out.
Hey, I ain't touching any buttons over here. I just want to make sure it's not me. Okay.
All right, yeah.
Normally it's me screwing something up. I'm not me this time, my friend. That's good. Yeah, but he was a wonderful cat. Yep. Adam Baum. Yeah, looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I know you mentioned earlier that you started wrestling at 3. Was that like amateur wrestling? Did you do any type of like amateur school wrestling as a kid?
Yeah, second, third grade, we got into We had JCs to AAU, and then we did school meets. But yeah, we started out young, all three of us. There's three boys, three farm boys, and yeah, we started wrestling early. And then I don't know if you know, like AAU at that age, even when you're competing in the AAU, you have to sign contracts that you won't sue the school if you get hurt or something. So, um, yeah, AAU was kind of a big deal back then, and it was a little more aggressive than your normal wrestling, you know. So, but yeah, we started awfully young and continued on. I kind of we to this day, I think my sophomore year, my brother was a senior. We were the winningest team in school history to this day,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, we had a pretty good team. And when my brother graduated, I just kind of lost a little interest. I didn't have the aggression and the determination like I should have. I just kind of got burnt out, I think, you know. But I still train, I still work hard. But junior year, yeah, senior year, not so much, you know. So some of these guys, they can't wait to go to college to be Division One. You know, I wasn't really even aware of things like that back in the day. So kind of lost interest, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because I was in amateur wrestling in 5th grade. Now I'm in 11th grade,
Oh, okay.
and well, going into 11th grade. But uh, I didn't really do well in amateur wrestling. I never won any of my matches. I wasn't so good, and I just after that season was over, I didn't really go back the next year because I didn't really like that style of wrestling much.
That's
So
brutal. That's brutal, isn't it? That's hard work.
yeah,
It's darn hard work. And I don't blame you, but it'll make a man out of you. I tell you, if you're any wrestlers, that's why wrestling dominates MMA or anything. Because wrestling, I mean, wrestlers have so much drive and force and will, the will to win, and the training that goes along with it. Um, the Bo Nichols, the Jordan Burroughs, these guys are just unstoppable machines in the MMA world. And wrestling's hard; it's really hard. And I don't blame you, but it's good for you. Probably made you a better man. And
mm,
don't rule out ever going back, even if you didn't win or something. It's good for you. It makes you a better person. It makes you stronger. So yeah, maybe you'll take another look.
yeah. I've been thinking about it going back at it now in high school, but in high school they don't give you any practices. And 5th grade was the only year I was in it, so
Really,
there was yeah. There's probably some things that I need to catch up on, and they don't really do practicing, so that would be kind of
really, they don't do any practice drills. They don't do the drills and the drill matches and the running and the you aren't doing any of that, huh?
well. I think they do a little bit before, but not much as like they did in like middle school or anything of that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to if you want to compete in this world of wrestling. I mean, these guys are training, so if you're not training and constantly going over repetitious moves, then it's going to be really difficult to win or to go anywhere. You know, so yeah, that's important. But
Yeah.
one of my wrestling coaches in high school went to high school with Dan Gable. Actually, he wrestled with Dan Gable. He was a couple of years or years so different.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was from Iowa, and of course, when I was wrestling the Dan Gable wrestling uh, training camps, I went to quite a few of the Dan Gable training camps. They're brutal. They are brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen what was it the life chat? What is it? The Lifetime Achievement Award. Uh, Donald Trump was given Dan Gable his Lifetime Achievement Award, and then Trump said, "I'm a lot bigger than you. I think I can take you." And Dan Gable goes, "You don't have a chance." Of course, Trump was joking, but he said, "I think I can take it because Trump's a big guy." And he says, "You don't have a chance." He's quite a character.
Yeah. What would you consider to be your weakness and then strength in wrestling?
In professional wrestling, weakness, you know what? I always should have, and I always needed to work on interviews. A lot of guys are great with interviews. I think they practiced a lot. That was their lifelong dream is to do great interviews. So interviews would probably be something I would need to work on more, and maybe uh, pushing myself as to, I always kept in the good with the boys. Here's the thing: is you always want to keep peace with the boys and not be they don't like the young guy coming in, think he's going to be the man. They don't like that. And I always respected everybody, and I kept to myself. But it's like a double-edged sword. If you're gonna go that route, then nobody really takes you seriously or gives you a shot. So I would rather be respected and get along with people than to push people's buttons and try to get farther faster, which a lot of guys do. They kind of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the guys will sell their soul to get to that level, and I wasn't for sale. Um, sure, I'd love to be one of the big names, but there's a time and a place, and I'm not for sale. I'm not bending over and doing things I don't want to do to get to that level. And I've had that opportunity. I don't. There's a lot of shady things that go on in the business, and a lot of people sell their souls. And I wasn't going to go down that road, so I think that was one of my downfalls. Which I'm glad I can sleep at night knowing that I didn't do anything that I'd regret later.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right on. But you see that in the wrestling business, you see that in Hollywood, you see that in the music industry. There's always a price. People will sell their soul to be that star, and be careful what you wish for, because in the end, it'll probably haunt you.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned that a weakness was doing interviews. There was an interview that you did, or like a backstage promo for UWF, where you had to keep doing it over and over again. What was
Yes,
that like? And
that was another thing. See that Herb Abrams, and that was up in Minot, North Dakota. And nothing was. Here's the thing: is nobody told you what they wanted, or they just kind of put you up in front of the camera and they started asking you, this talk about yourself. And I wasn't prepared. They didn't tell me really what to do, and I think there was a communication issue there. That wasn't really professionally set up. It was kind of a thrown together at the last minute, and it was okay, but obviously the interviews weren't going as well as they should have. So yeah, things like that. But they all take time. You start doing more interviews. My first few interviews with the AWA were a little shaky, but as they went on, they got better. But it's like anything. The more you do, the better you get. There's times when you first came out, when you go out to when you're out on Monday Night Raw and you're in front of 10, 12,000 people, and there's two guys in the ring. They're all looking at you. There's no room for mistakes, and you really got to make sure you don't mess up or tick somebody off. But you're obviously very nervous. But as time goes on, and you've done a few, boy, you just can't wait to get out in the middle of that ring and be part of the show. So it's a oh man, it's like a high. It's a high to get there, to be at that point. To be in the center of that ring. With some big names, the names that I was with Andre and Demolition
mm-hmm.
and Jim Snake and Yokozuna, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, which was another great He's one of my favorite guys as well. So another thing with Hacksaw is Hacksaw knew I was a wrestler, and we do some wrestling spots, and he'd give you a little. There's a these matches should mean something. You just don't go out and squash a guy like, let's say, Razor Ramon does or wants. You put a storyline together. It's got to mean something. Jake the Snake gave me a little. Hacksaw Jim Duggan gave me some. Demolition, but you put a story together, it makes more sense. But to go out and just squash a guy, that means nothing. So yeah.
Yep. And also about the promos, I think that also because it was probably like one of your first ones, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was probably about like nervousness too.
Right.
So
yeah, there was
it's
a ton of anxiety and nervousness, and putting on a spot, and you're not even prepared. You got to throw something together.
mhm.
So, and a lot of these guys that we're with were obviously wrestling a while, and they were doing much better than I was, but I was kind of a new young name at that time. So yes, yeah, not the greatest.
But it's funny how they just kept that they posted it, and it's like they kept
Who did
like
that?
they didn't. I don't know. It's on YouTube.
I know. I knew that. I was.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Did you know much about Herb Abrams?
Yes, I've heard of him. Yeah.
He was quite a character, man.
Yeah.
Big party animal, but yes, I only did a few things with him, but yeah, he was quite something. Quite a showman.
Yep. Was it hard for you traveling from show to show, and what was the worst and or best thing about traveling for you?
Wow, yeah. Well, the traveling, I think that traveling back then was, you get a call, do Monday Night Raw, and maybe like Columbus, Ohio, and Cleveland, Ohio. You jump in and you get the boys together and jump in a van and head down the road, and hopefully the van's okay, or there's no storm weather damage or weather problems, but dangerous a lot of times, and everybody's tired, driving all night, getting to the show. You got to get there in time to check in, and then get they pay you out fairly quickly before the show started. So
Yeah.
but you don't want to be late to those. There was sometimes in the beginning that we would go to a bar and we would party all night, and then when the bar closed, we'd jump in the van and drive all night to all over the United States. It was crazy, but it's a lot of the boys have passed away on the road. You fall asleep, they're tired. And they get into an accident, it's over. It's a dangerous life because you're driving down on the road. You're in the ring with 300-pound men dropping each other on your neck and back, and yes,
Yep.
yeah, it's just some crazy stuff that goes on, and then jumping in a car, driving halfway across the country for the next show. But we all did it. Was it the smartest thing to do? Probably not, but that's the lifestyle of wrestling. The carnival, the carnival type of lifestyle. So that's what we did.
Yep. Who were some of like your riding buddies that you usually rode with for like either WWF or AWA that you made friends with and could drive with?
You know what? But I spent a lot of time driving with the Baron von Raschke, and a lot of times I was the guy to get everybody home safe. I was the mother duck because everybody else was. A lot of them were wild animals, or they were, they were out to have a good time.
Yeah.
You remember Flash? Scott Flash Norton.
Yep.
The world arm wrestling champ. He spent a lot of time in Japan, and Scott, incredibly strong man. And me and Scott and Baron von Raschke were on the road once, and I had to get we wrestled up in northern Minnesota, and we want to stop at a bar for some drinks, and of course they had to shut that bar down. And at the end of that night, I got to make sure everybody gets back home or back into Minneapolis where their car is to get home. But
Yeah.
I kept everybody out of jail a lot of times too, because guys would get out of control and they were borderline going to jail, and I'd have to get them in the car, get them back to the hotel, and make sure that they were up the next morning to go to the next show. So, but yeah, back to the question, Baron von Raschke. Um, I spent a lot of time with Tom Rocky Stone. We would travel a lot together for some of the WWF tapings. I'm drawing a blank with the boys there. George is in your area. There's gosh, what was his name? George Smith. No, Kevin Smith. Kevin's in your area. Do you know who that is?
Oh yes, Kevin Kruger.
Kevin Kruger. Yeah, spent some time with Kevin. Do you know who Red Tyler was? Red Tyler. He used to do. He was an enhancement with me. He did AWA and he did WWF. Long red hair, kind of got a Greek body. He was built pretty well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a character, man. That guy, he was always worried about getting big. He'd buy a gallon of milk, a case of tuna, and a loaf of bread. And in the back seat, he would just keep shuffling one to another and try to put weight on him the whole trip going down to the next show. But I spent a lot of time with Red, Buck Zumoff. Buck Zumoff.
Oh, okay.
I spent a lot of time with Buck Zumoff. Matter of fact, when Triple H first came to the WWF, his first match was with Buck, and me and Buck and Triple H. Paul was sitting there talking for quite some time, but that was Paul's very first match in the WWF. So Triple H, but yeah, a lot of time with Buck, Stone, Baron. Yeah, spent a lot of time with those guys. And then also, too, Ray Brown. Not sure if you know. He actually, Ray Brown, Ray Oakley wrestled. Him and I wrestled Andre the Giant and Haku.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And Ray's a big guy. He's 6'4", 6'5", and of course, looked awful tiny with Andre, but he was a big guy. But I spent a lot of time on the road with Ray, But I think he's still around. I think he's in St. Paul. I think he's still around here. So, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, like also mentioning Kevin Kruger. Yeah, I've got a hold of him recently to do an interview too. So yeah.
Yeah, he's a good cat. And then George, I'm trying to remember his last name. George worked with him. We did King of the Ring. We were like the jesters, the guys that opened the doors for the King of the Ring.
Oh, really?
That was the year. If you go and look, you remember when Stone Cold, his time has come, and that's when Stone Cold started. And if you look, that's kind of one of the iconic memories of Stone Cold when he's the King of the Ring, and he split his palate on the King of the Ring. He split his top of his lip, and his top palate was broke. But he continued on, and he won King of the Ring. But me and George were the two jesters opening the doors back at that time. And I think that might have been. I'm trying to remember, that King of the Ring was in Milwaukee. I think it was in Milwaukee at that time. I think. What part of Wisconsin are you in?
Oh yeah, yep. I'm in Peshtigo, Marinette, Wisconsin, halfway through there. So it's 45 minutes away from Green Bay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we used to wrestle a lot. I mean, Green Bay was another. We did some shows in Green Bay as well. Matter of fact, the Green Bay Packers were big wrestling fans. Reggie White, I met Reggie White, and
Oh yeah,
guys, yeah. We had a good time, but yeah, I always loved the wrestling. Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Green Bay, through there, Madison, yeah, Madison, Wisconsin. We did some Monday Night Raws there as well. Yes,
yeah.
good times.
And yeah, you mentioned doing the King of the Ring. What was it like getting to be part of that big moment like for you?
I did a lot of that extra stuff with WWF at that time. I did a lot of the King of the Ring. I used to carry Macho Man around. Remember the big
Mm.
uh, the chair and Macho Man. I was always a lot of. They used me all the time as one of the extras, carrying him around or doing extra stuff around the ring. Stuff you probably don't see much on the television, but it's part of the show. I was constantly carrying Macho Man around, and then Hacksaw. Thank God, we had to carry Hacksaw around. Of course, he was much heavier, but yeah, he was a little harder to carry than Macho Man. But yeah, I enjoyed the extra stuff. I actually had an interview with Joy Joey Guerrera. They were gonna hire me in a contract for like a guest referee for like
Oh yeah.
somebody to keep the peacemaker in the ring. And that was the time when ratings were starting to get a little ratings were dropping at the time, and Tony was he couldn't make his mind up. He goes, I'll let you know. And then after that, the ratings were tough, so they had to cut back on a few things. So if I would have had that, I would have probably had a contract with WWF. Would have been a good thing. Yes,
Mm.
no. Of course, living the road life is your family's everything is kind of thrown out the window because you're on the road 300 plus days a year, 320 out of 365. Yeah, those guys don't have a life. So yes,
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, you were really close to getting a WWF contract. So
yeah. I mean, obviously it was. I mean, I would have rather have the wrestling contract, but a referee contract would be probably even better because you're not getting banged up as much and you're still in the spotlight. So that might have been a better deal. You know, I did guess. I mean,
yeah,
I did referees for the AWA and a few other places, but yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
yeah. I mean, there was a lot of referees that did like a lot of like wrestling spots, such as Nick Patrick, Billy Silverman,
Yeah,
numerous other ones. So I
great
mean,
angle. Yep, there's a lot of opportunity for angles for there too.
yeah,
The cheating referee gimmick is always a good gimmick.
yep. I know you mentioned this probably earlier, but who was your first opponent in front of a crowd for like the WWF, and how did you feel going
Oh,
into that first match?
oh man, that's a good question. WWF. Um, what was the first match? Well, I'm drawing a blank. I think one of the first ones was Jake the Snake. I think it was, and Jake the Snake, and he gave me some. He gave me a little fire. I mean, I obviously got to do some dirty tactics on him and throw him out of the ring and create some heat. And then, of course, that made for a bigger pop for him to come in and DDT me and throw the snake on me. But no, I think he was uh, one of my first matches, and actually, he was great back then. He was fantastic, great worker. I ran into him a few years back at in Vegas for the Cauliflower Alley Club,
Oh
and
yeah,
he's sorry, it seems like he's a little more bitter in his age, but I think he's fighting some demons at some point. But no, he was great. I don't know if you know this or not, but I did a match with Undertaker. Do you remember when he used to walk the top rope? Did you know that?
oh yeah. Old school.
Yeah, yeah. I wrestled him I was one of the other first matches, and Undertaker walked the top rope. And I'm sure you know, Undertaker's 6'11". He's up there, 6'10",
Yeah.
6. He's a huge man. And to hold that guy up walking around the ring at 6'10", it's almost impossible. But he could do it, but they kind of took it out. They never did it much after that. It was just probably too much to do. Probably took away from the match. He did other things, but yeah, that was one of them that they never did use. You know, I don't think they ever aired that one. I'm not sure. Dark. What do you call it? Dark match. You know.
Oh yeah. So you were like one of his like first matches almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was one of his. I believe I was one of his first matches. I was at 87, 88, maybe something like that. Can't remember exactly when he came
Wow.
in there, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was there kind of in the beginning, I would think. And they also used to have somebody that was a double or a lookalike that used to take his place a lot of times too. I can't remember. There was an angle going on back then. I can't remember if that was the
Oh
big
yeah.
red. I think that was Glenn, I believe. Um,
His lookalike Undertakers.
yeah, yeah. They used to have another double that would. I think when they were doing an angle as two
Brian
Undertakers.
Brian Lee.
Brian Lee. Is that who you
Yeah,
said?
also known
Okay,
as
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they used to draw up the tattoos on his arm exactly almost the same as
Yep.
Undertaker had. Yeah, yeah, and actually it worked out really well. But that was quite an angle. But um, yeah, I was there for much of his beginning. You know, the great thing is when you wrestle Undertaker and you're in that ring, and then that music comes in. I mean, it almost gives you the willies being in there because it's such a he does such a good job selling himself and the whole
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker gimmick. One of my favorite gimmick is the Undertaker. I love that gimmick, and he does it
Yes.
so well.
Mm-hmm.
He does it so well. Even in the beginning. I think his beginning Undertaker uh, outfit coming in was way better than what he was doing at the end. You know, so
Agree. Yeah. Yeah. Brian Lee is actually his brother in real life. So
no kidding. You know what? I didn't even know that. So that was his brother, though. Huh? Okay.
yep.
When you're around and they're you're in the back dressing room and things are going on, it's almost like a dream. It's like all this stuff going on and you don't really know what's happening because it's part of the show. It's so you're seeing things that you don't really understand, but and who these guys are because they're either got makeup or masks on. So yeah, it's quite an experience if you're in the business. You know.
Yep. Were you considered as like one of the boys, or what was it like for you backstage? Or were you like separate, or
You know what? That's a good question. But you know what? I was part of the boys. Never had any heat with anybody. I always got along with everybody. I was always liked by everybody. The Hearts, um, yeah, everybody that I was around, I always had great rapport with everybody, and I always respected people. So, I was never a loudmouth young punk trying to make a name for myself. I always respected everybody, and people understood that. Um, Spent a lot of time goofing around with the Harts, Owen Hart, Bret Hart, Jim DeAnville. A lot of shenanigans going on with those guys. They were fun to be around. Always pranking. There's nothing but pranks going on with those guys. So, but I really enjoyed the Hearts. But yeah, I got along with everybody. Demolition, uh, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
I don't know if you remember. I had the tiger skin tights. I had tiger skin tights, and of course that's what Jimmy Snuka wore. You know. So he said, "Hey, brother, where'd you get those tights, brother?" So I got a lady in St. Paul that makes them. Oh, brother, can you get me three shorts, three pants, brother? It's okay. I'll see you at the next show. So I went back and I had my lady made him three shorts and three pants, and we were like best friends after that. So yeah, I always got on good. Hercules Hernandez, I had a fantastic. I was around him quite a bit. He was a fantastic guy. He'd be mixing up protein shakes, and he was just a big muscle. I mean, he was a great man, great guy to be around. But
Yeah.
yeah, I connected really good with a lot of people. I had no heat with anybody, and people that may either they didn't, they just bottom line they don't like young guys because young guys are maybe a threat to take their job away. And there's some guys that just like anybody. And it's nothing that I did. It's just the fact that you're a young guy. And but
Yeah.
I never got any heat. I never got any heat with anybody that I'm aware of. So
Well, that's good.
yeah, yeah. You don't want that.
Yeah. Otherwise, that would probably cause for more commotion and more people not liking you, because seeing that from their standpoint, seeing that you might not be like a good person.
Right. Well, here's nobody. I don't know if you have anybody come and talk about this about the show, but there's a lot of guys that get into the wrestling business, and then they get in front of a camera and they say, "Okay, well, we're gonna, we're gonna pin you. We're gonna do a 5-8 minute match, and then we're gonna pin you." Okay. Well, then these guys will think, "Okay, well, here's my chance to be a superstar." When he does his final move, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight back. And people do that. And that is bad news because you're going to get stiffed and beat the crap out of you in the ring. And then when you get back to the dressing room, everybody else is going to beat the crap out of you and they're going to throw you out the door and you're done. But it happens a lot. A lot of guys, they think that here's my chance to be a superstar. And I'm sure if you get some of the big name guys on the show here, and they'll tell you this punk kid thought he was going to be the next big thing, and he's telling me what to do, and they put a stop to it. I can't remember. I watched an interview with one of the guys that I don't know if it was. I think it may have been Sid Vicious that was talking about someone that thought he was going to come in and take over and stiff him, and he wanted some spots because his parents were there and his girlfriend was there, and the guy annihilated him. I think he was done.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to do that. That's asking for trouble.
Definitely is.
Yes.
And talking about Sid, what was your reaction to his passing the other day?
Yeah. Do we know from what? Was it his heart, or do we know?
He was battling cancer apparently for many years.
Oh man. Okay. I heard. I mean, I wasn't really. I seen him. I was kind of, we were around. Never spoke to the guy really that I remember. Everybody seemed to like the guy. He's a pretty scary dude. That guy was big too. He's 6'9", 6'10". He was an intimidator. He was a scary guy, but I think overall everybody seemed to love the guy. He was a good person, great guy. Sorry to see him go, but boy, we're losing a lot of guys, and it's horrible. And a lot of the boys don't seem to make it very long. 50s, 60s, they're gone. And the lifestyle, a lot of the lifestyle in the wrestling business is tough. You're on the road, wife's at home, go to the bar. There's ladies, there's alcohol, there's drugs. It's a tough life. I don't know if anybody comes and talks about it, but these guys, or their wife wants a divorce and they're missing their family, and there's nothing they can do about it. Otherwise, they're going to quit. They can't quit the WWE, so they have to continue on.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle, but we lose a lot of big name guys here lately, and nobody seems to last long. And they get in their 50s and 60s, and it's over.
Yeah. Like when I went onto Facebook and I seen this was like right away. as the first person posted it. I didn't see his son's post. I seen somebody else that posted it that he passed away, and I was shocked, like shocked. I didn't even believe it.
Yeah, I thought he. I mean, I think I seen some videos of him 5 6 months ago. He looked good. I think he was. I thought he was doing okay. I didn't realize he was in that bad of shape. You know.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No, no. But yeah, such a big man.
Yeah, I was supposed to probably meet him in October because he was
Oh,
booked for a show in Minnesota for MAW Grand Slam.
no way. Minnesota?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
Minneapolis. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Or no, St. Paul. St. Paul.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was it the St. Paul Civic Center? No, what is it? What is we did a lot of television to St. Paul Civic Center, but I think it's called something else now. But yeah, that's too bad. Could have met a
Yep.
legend.
Definitely.
How was
But
your how was your meeting with the Hulkster?
oh, it was great. It was a moment. It was like I couldn't believe I was there. It was
Yeah,
like probably it was like really quick.
yeah.
They it was a long line. They had to get you through there. I got there like 3 hours before, and I was right in front of the line. So, um, all it was like a handshake, a photo,
Boom,
and then
boom,
you
boom,
left.
boom, boom out the door.
Yeah,
Yeah. His
yeah.
his his manager in his stores down in Clearwater is Ron Howard, and Ron does all the videos. I mean, I stop in and see Ron quite a bit, but I never catch Hogan at the beach shop. I'm sure you may watch the videos of his beach shop and his belts and everything in the back. But Ron does a lot of stuff for Hulk, and he's kind of the hidden gem behind the camera because uh, he does all this and he makes it all happen, and he's always there for the Hulkster. So you know, yeah, hats off to Ron because he kind of makes the Hulkster alive and exciting down in Clearwater. You know, good guy.
Definitely. Yeah. Now he's going almost everywhere for his beer run.
Yes,
So yeah.
Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South.
Mm-hmm. I met
See
him
this
too.
or not? Um, Jimmy Hart. I ran into Jimmy down there, and Jimmy started a bar down in what was it, Fort Lauderdale. So he wanted me to swing down there. I think I'm not sure if it worked out well or not, but Jimmy Hart was always down there, and then Nasty Boys, Brian
Yeah.
Knobs
Mm-hmm.
spent some time, and actually Bushwhacker Luke had a gym above Hogan at the beach shop. I don't know if you have ever been down there. You ever
Oh
been there?
no,
Yeah, you should go down there sometime. Hogan's Beach Shop down in Clearwater Beach. Have to
I
check
would
that
love
out.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to swing in there and get some T-shirts because I have a lot of friends that are big Hulkster fans, so they've always got a bunch of shirts and and pride or things to bring back to Minnesota for the friends. You know.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I got a signed Hulk Hogan beer case
Yeah. is it?
right
Is
over
it?
there.
Is that really? What do you got to wait a couple years
Yeah.
to drink it?
What?
I say you have to wait a couple years to drink it, or can you go? Can you have some now?
Oh, I'm 16.
Yeah, right. You're gonna have to wait.
Yeah. I mean, I probably won't ever drink it, so
Okay, all right.
because I'm gonna save it as a collectible.
Oh yeah. Oh, you have to. Yes, I would think so.
Hmm.
Hopefully, that's doing well.
And also mentioning the Nasty Boys, they're gonna be at that Minnesota show as well.
Those guys, the Nasty Boys. When I went through training camp, and I wrestled with the Nasty Boys a lot, and I was actually fairly close to those guys: Brian Knobs, Jerry Sags, and they're quite some characters, man. Don't ever go drinking with those guys because, um, yeah, they have a habit of getting you passed out and shaving your eyebrows and your hair off your head and playing tricks. But yeah, those guys are something else. A lot of shenanigans going on there. Yep, they would get you. You go out drinking with them, and they would drop a Halcyon tranquilizer, and then you'd pass out. And they'd shave your eyebrows, and then a friend of mine, they shaved his head back to about the middle of his skull. So you'd have to shave the rest of your head up the next day. But they did. That was kind of a normal behavior going on back in the wrestling business. Shaving people's heads, and when they pass out. Yes. They're about 300-pound 12-year-olds is what wrestlers are. Nobody can behave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually during the Kiss concert I was at, they had a tailgate party with the Nasty Boys were there in Crandon, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I got them two figures. Oh yeah, opposite, right there and right there. They're both signed.
Okay. Nice.
They're both signed.
Was Jerry there? Was Jerry there too? Jerry Sachs?
Yep, both of them.
Because I see Brian quite a bit online, but I don't see much of Jerry. But that's good. They both made it. Hopefully they're both doing well. Yeah, good.
Yeah. It was in 2023, and I got to sit down and talk to him. I got to do like a whole off-camera interview with Jerry Saggs. He's a great guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Has he still got his teeth missing in the middle?
Yep.
He ate a turnbuckle, wasn't it?
No. I don't know. I think he got in a fight.
I think he ate a turnbuckle, and then the Road Warriors said, "No, don't fix it. It makes you look tough." So he never fixed it. So it's been that way for a long time. But yes, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, of course, all the stuff going on in fights. Yeah, but I thought it was a turnbuckle. I thought he ate a turnbuckle. But
yeah, I could be wrong too. I'm not 100% positive.
Of course, it always sounds better that you got in a fight. That's a little more manly than eating a turnbuckle.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the picture here.
Okay. Oh yeah. I can see it. Knobs is on the bottom there. I can see him. Yes, those guys. I spent a lot of time with those guys too. They're good guys. They're good people.
Yep.
Lots of laughs.
Mm-hmm. And but I don't think Brian has changed from drinking. He still drinks a lot.
Yeah. You kind of want to tone that down. You get a little older, it's hard on the body,
Yeah.
I don't know how our nature boy is still standing, That's
right, yeah.
That's just a mystery. We took Ric Flair's two boys to Prince concert back in, what was it, 86, 87? But you remember Christopher Love, Burt Prentice, oh my gosh. Yeah, he was Burt Prentice, Christopher Love. He worked for the AWA for a while. Then we went down to Wichita, Kansas. We had the UWF down there with Pritchard, not Bruce, Tom Pritchard, but anyways, we took we had a show for the AWA on Saturday night. Prince is a big fan of wrestling. Matter of fact, he wanted to do a wrestling show in his house, and I remember he wanted some guys to perform at his house for a wrestling show, but I don't know if it ever happened. And then he gave us all tickets to his show on Sunday night at St. Paul Civic Center. So Christopher Love sent us to go get Ric Flair's two boys and bring them to the show. So, but yeah, of course, Rick's from Rick is from Minneapolis here, and actually Rick worked for my friend's dad in the insurance business for a little while too in town, Golden
Hmm.
Valley. It was, yeah, yeah,
Oh wow, really?
yeah, yep. Small world, but yeah. I think a friend of mine's mother went to school with classmates of Ric Flair. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. To see how Ric Flair, what he's doing here and there, drinking, smoking, he's wrestling, active all the time with that, and still alive. It's
he's
crazy.
still alive. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. And well, the wrestling he's probably who's taken probably more bumps than anybody. I mean, you can talk about Hogan and his back and stuff, but you know what? There's nowhere near Ric Flair took probably 100 times more bumps than say Hogan would ever take. Ric Flair's taken so many heavy, so his body is just beat to death from the bumps, and then
You're right. Yeah.
along the hard life, the drinking, the partying, the you know, um, yeah, and he's still with us. I mean, thank God he's still around. But I watched Hogan talk on a podcast that, of course, he's never seen Rick drink any water. It's alcohol or beer. It's like your body needs water, man. You got to drink some water. But how can somebody be on this planet and not drink water? You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
He's still standing.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
And I heard that he's also rude to fans because of his drinking, like out in public. So yeah.
Yeah, he can be, and a lot of these guys. Uh, yes, some of them are rude to fans, but some of them are just, and sometimes the fans are pretty. I had people where they're really rude. They go, they give me a kid that's got a diaper full of crap. You can smell it really bad, and they say, "Hold my kid, tell him to do good in school," or kiss my baby, or people are just rude and expect you to do all these things. There's two sides of that. Yeah, some of these guys are rude. Yeah, that is true, but some of these fans are out of their minds. So um,
Yeah.
they can definitely press your buttons or make you mad. Um, but say most. And here's another thing too: is when you're a bad guy and you're out in public, you're portraying the bad guy. So a lot of guys won't turn off the bad guy image; they're going to be the bad guy. So. Some people stay
Yeah.
true to their role, But yeah, some of them will.
True.
Mhm.
If you could go back in time and wrestle anyone that has passed away, who would that be?
Oh, you know what, Mister Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Kurt was another one of my big. He was one of my favorite. He was the best. The, I mean, the big names is Mister Perfect, Kurt Hennig, Brett the Hitman Hart, Owen Hart, some of the best workers of all. Kurt, I remember when Mr. Perfect came to the WWF, Hogan was nervous as a hornet. He was so nervous because Kurt was such a professional. Kurt was a technician. He was one of the greatest, and he did such a good job
Mm-hmm.
with his gimmick and being perfect. And actually, if you ever watch or listen to, I mean, he could do things like they were portraying when he was, when they were pushing him in the WWF. And very talented guy. Uh, he was one of the guys that carried himself as uh, a professional and a successful businessman. Um, Kurt also kept a lot of guys out of jail too. I remember being down in like Louisville, Kentucky, or somewhere down there, and a lot of the guys are at the bar, and somebody was hitting on the bouncer's girlfriend, and then I think Dino Bravo was down there. Shawn Michaels, um, I think Marty Jannetty when they were the Rockers back in the day, but it turned into a fight down there, and a lot of guys got thrown in jail. I think the Rockers got
Mm.
kind of banged up they got handcuffed and banged up supposedly by the police. But um, but um, Kurt bailed a lot of the boys out. He had to get them out of jail. I did a lot of that too. I kept guys out of jail and out of trouble, and got them back home in a safe place. I don't know if you knew this, but I lived with 4 midgets in
Oh,
Kansas. So I lived with the midgets. Um, Little Tokyo, Little Coco, Cowboy Cottrell, Karate Kid. But these guys like to party and drink, and they'd be out of control. Try to get these guys back into the apartment before they got thrown in jail too. But Kurt was kind of like me. He kind of watched over the boys, and I did too. And I respected Kurt. I looked up to him probably more than most, and Bret Hart. I think those were two of my favorite technicians at the time. But yeah, and I would love to wrestle Kurt. I would have loved to wrestle Bret and Owen. Owen was fantastic, you know. So yeah, if
definitely. Yep.
I had the chance, those are the guys I would probably like to wrestle. Yeah.
Yeah. Was Haiti Kid there during your time?
No, he wasn't there. I was probably what 86 to 96 or 87 to the 96 in and out doing Monday Night Raws, and it was kind of spotty at best. Um, it was good for probably like 87 to 91, and then it just kind of got uh, pretty rare after that. But I do some special stuff with them, but. No, I don't hate a kid. No, he was never there. No, um, 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 Stone Cold was coming in. The Rock wasn't there yet. You know, of course, Haku is Rock's uncle. I wrestle Haku, but
Mm-hmm.
Rock wasn't there yet. You know, I didn't know him, but I was around
Right.
Stone Cold. Yeah, have you had Haiti Kid on there too, or no? You had him on the show
Oh
yet?
no,
Okay,
no.
okay.
Uh, you can't really find him. He's missing. So I think he's homeless. The last time I checked, he was homeless in New York.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's been homeless since his wrestling departure,
Hmm.
and nobody's heard from him since, really, besides 1 year, like in 2012. I'm not really sure about that, but I think it might be it. That's the last time we heard about him. That he was homeless in New York. So yeah.
Wow. In this business, it is a hard business. And of course, if there was some fame, now you're nobody, or if you have an addiction, um, wrestlers are a different breed. There's not your average bear. We're like I said, we're a half a bubble off, but some of these guys they live on the edge, and they don't. Sometimes after the wrestling, they either busted up, they disappear. You don't hear from them, or they're, a lot of guys financially. There's no money in this business. There's only a handful of guys that make money. Everybody else is broke. So don't depend on the wrestling business is going to pay your bills unless you're probably the top 5 guys, 4 guys. Everybody else starves. They're all just getting a paycheck to get by, and you live on the road and they'll pay for some of your stuff, but they don't pay for much, and they don't bring that much home when the day's done. So
Yeah.
especially you get up in your 40s and 50s and your body's all busted up and you have no money And what are you going to do? What kind of work are you going to do? You know, so it can be a hard life. I hope he's doing okay, but a lot of these guys there's a lot of them probably in the same situation where they're broke or they're broken, busted, their bodies are depleted, and they got nowhere to go or nobody to turn to, So it's a hard life.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I know. In the past, I've tried looking up because I've looked them up and I've seen that. I tried looking up homeless shelters in New York to see if I could get a hold of that place that he was at, so I could possibly do it with him
Mm-hmm.
and see if I could hold him through the homeless shelter. But I never. There were so many homeless shelters in New York, so I couldn't really find the right one, and I didn't really want to call
Oh my
everyone
God.
and ask,
A needle in the haystack, New York City. Good luck. Have you
right?
found him? If you found him, you should be put on a platter because think of that big city and all the homeless, busted up people. You know what I mean? I would assume that have to be
Oh yeah,
almost impossible. That was awful noble of you to do that, you know. But let's just hope he's doing okay. Yeah.
yeah. Who would you top as your three favorite opponents in your career?
Um, in a enhancement, uh, well, you know what? Top three, I think, would be Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I did a few things with Hacksaw. I enjoyed wrestling with him. He was smooth, uh, easy to work with, a lot of fun, great guy. If I can work with him 6 days a week on the road, no problem. That would probably be one of my favorite. Actually, you know what? Demolition. I wrestled Demolition a few times, and I was around those guys as well. And I really enjoyed working with those guys, Bill and Barry. I don't know if you knew this, but Barry Darso and Wayne the Train used to hold the world's record for the double deadlift. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah. I don't know if it still holds true to this day, but Wayne the Train was never that big. However, he was extremely strong. Yeah, he held the record with him. I think him and Barry had the world record at that time. But yeah, I enjoyed the Demolition, Hacksaw. Actually, British Bulldog was another one that I enjoyed working with. It was, as we would say, it's a night off. When you wrestle guys that were
Yeah.
professionals, it's called a night off, and they can look like they're killing you, but it's a night off because it's smooth, um, theatrical, professional. And there's a few guys. I mean, there's quite a few guys with some talent. And there's quite a few guys with no talent. If you're on the road with these guys with no talent, it's a long road because these guys don't know how to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, granted, those were enhancement guys. Um, Actually, who's a great wrestler in the Twin Cities here is Johnny Devine. I don't know if you've ever had Johnny.
Oh yeah.
Johnny's one of the greatest workers. He is a fantastic worker. And when I worked with him, he was always great. He was easy to work with. He was a very good uh, worker. So those were easy nights when I worked with him. I think I was around, like Lenny Lane was another local guy that was really good, that was easy to work with as well. I'm not sure if
Oh yeah.
I think I had one match with Lenny, but and actually, I have to say Buck Zumov, Buck Rock and Roll Zumov was a good worker, um, but yes, good worker. A little bit of a different breed of that character for that guy, but yeah, he could work. He could work, So he was a professional.
Yeah, I seen some of his promos too. He wasn't bad at doing promos either.
No, no, no. He was a good talker. He was a great talker.
Yeah.
you're familiar with how he got his start. Did you or know that or no? Because
No, I'm not.
he used to set the ring up. He used to set the ring up for the AWA. He was working setting the rings up, and he used to bring his boombox. And he used to set the boombox
Oh,
back, doing his little dance and putting the ring up. And then I think Greg or Vern, Vern. He wanted to be a wrestler, obviously. So Vern kind of set him up as the rock and roller Buck Zumhofe and kind of took off from there. But yeah, I spent a lot of time with that guy. He's definitely a different cat. Anybody that knows him or knows what I'm talking about knows that guy. He's not a half a bubble off. He's more than that. But yeah, he's a different cat. But he was quite a showman, quite a worker. I'll give him that.
yep.
Another one, Larry Zbyszko. Larry Zbyszko, the living legend. Easy to work with, fantastic guy, a professional. Hats off to him too. So I worked some with Larry, and I have a lot of respect for Larry Zbyszko. Good man.
Yeah. Do you usually get along or become friends with like most of your opponents?
Yes. You know what? This is a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood. You're on the road with these guys, and you have to deal with each other. And you know what? We all have maybe some faults, but you're on the road with these guys, and you kind of have to look out for each other. But yeah, always have a bonding with the boys on the road, and hopefully you don't have too much heat or somebody doesn't stiff you to where you have some harsh feelings with somebody. But I always seem to get along with most guys. But yeah, it's a hard life, and you got to, if I'm going to kick you and I knock your teeth out because I did it wrong, and you're not going to be happy because you don't have any teeth. I mean, this is stuff that goes on. If you don't have talent, you've been trained by somebody in the backyard, and you kick somebody in the teeth or break their nose, most guys aren't gonna have that. Are you gonna get retaliated on? Or somebody's gonna do something to you. But I always got along with everybody. You always had a few bad eggs in the bunch, but overall, everything was pretty cordial.
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty easy to get along with. I mean, you really have to be try pretty hard to not get along with me. So yeah, I keep the peace.
Yeah. So if you could make a Survivor Series match, including you, with 4 wrestlers from any era who are still alive to this day, who would you choose as partners?
4 wrestlers that are alive today in a Survivor Series match. Oh boy. Wow. I think a lot of my guys are gone, but that's a good question. You know what? I would think Triple H would probably be one of them. Stone Cold. You gotta love Stone Cold. You have to be crazy enough to love Stone Cold.
Like that, like my shirt.
There you go. What? Yes. Yeah. That's awesome. Yep, that's fantastic. Stone Cold, probably a Brock Lesnar in there. We got Brock, Triple H, Stone Cold, and who else? Oh gosh. Back in the day, Bret Hart was fantastic. However, no, you know what? Undertaker.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Undertaker.
Nice. That would.
That guy, he was there in the beginning when I was there. And of course, he's been there. When did he retire? Do you know when he stopped with the WWE?
I know the last match he had was at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. Him and Kane versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Oh, okay, okay. Do you remember what year that was?
Um,
I was gonna.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's yeah. You can't remember all of these. That's for sure. But
Right. So November 22nd, 2020.
wow, yeah, he's been on the top.
Oh, at
Probably
WrestleMania 36.
okay. He's been on top for that long. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean that guy. I don't know who who can compare to being on the mainstream, the biggest wrestling federation that long. Who else? He has to be number one, right? Who's carried the torch longer than Undertaker?
Well, there's also Hulk Hogan, who still is signed with the WWE under a Legends contract. That's what
Yeah,
Undertaker signed to.
yeah. But as far as
Um,
working,
yeah.
because Hogan's really hasn't. You know, Hogan did some spotty shows here and there. You know, he spot shows. He never was consistent, and I don't think there's anybody that's been as consistent as the Undertaker for that long. Who beats Undertaker? I mean,
Right.
he's just amazing, and uh, the stories of him being broke, his neck being have a broken neck and still wrestling, and what he's been through, and of course being one of the crowd favorites for 20 plus years or more. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's amazing.
Like he was at the most recent, the last WrestleMania. He was in the main event when it was Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the title. And he came out at the end and he choke slammed Solo Sikoa. So yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
think I remember that. Yeah, uh, yeah, fantastic. And get back to Cody Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes. I did some matches with Goldust and Dustin Rhodes, and I have to say he's another one of my favorites. Spent some time with Dustin Rhodes. That's a quality professional. He's one of the best. Hats off to that. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. I forgot to bring him up, but now that we're talking Cody Rhodes, Cody wasn't around when I was there, but Dustin Rhodes was, and he is one of the best. You know, he's up there with probably Kurt Hennig or close to it. You know, so yeah, unbelievable talent that guy has. You know.
Right, yeah. And he's still going today in AEW.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he just recently won tag team titles.
Fantastic.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's a great man.
Would you, in your prime, would you rather have been in like a street fight or a death match?
Oh, for the wrestling?
Yeah.
Or I mean, for real? No, actually, you know what? We did some street fights. Um, you know, a street fights or a death match. I'm just trying to think of anybody I know that did some death match, but in the wrestling business. But of course, we took a lot of things out of the ring and fought through the crowds and into the streets. We done stuff like that before. I would probably say a street fight. You know, a little more,
Right, yeah.
a little more entertaining, I would guess. Right?
Yeah. Right, yeah. Because, I mean, there was Mick Foley and a lot of like the ECW wrestlers who did um, more of like the hardcore death type matches. So,
Yeah, and you know what? I wasn't real familiar back in that time with the ECW. Of course, that was coming up, and a lot of talent came from there. Yes, Mick Foley's just he's one of the, I mean, very talented guy, but that guy's body, I don't know what's holding him together right now. But and that's a he's taken so many huge, crazy bumps in his time, and of course, he's not a guy that exercises and keeps his body together. Um, so, yeah, he's taken some painful bumps, man.
Oh,
Surprised
geez,
he's
yeah.
still, he's still moving, but yeah, you can't
He's
say
probably
he took an easy road, right?
right. Yeah, I think he's like top on like the top. Probably one that's risked his life for wrestling.
Yes. Oh yeah, he gave his all, right?
Right. Yeah.
He left nothing behind. He laid it all out there. So
Yep.
yes, yeah, amazing guy.
Because I had Mick Foley on the podcast also a little bit.
Fantastic. Good for you. That's awesome.
Because I had him with Yerple the Clown. I don't know if you're recognizable with her. She was in WWF. She did a little segments with Stone Cold, The Rock, Vince McMahon in the hospital segment, and she was
Oh,
always with Mick Foley.
okay, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, the pink, the pink clown, and yeah,
Yeah, that was some good humor. And actually, the writing and the storylines back then, the hospitals and the urine, the what is it, the bedpans and the yes, good,
mm-hmm.
good,
Yep,
good entertainment, right? Yes.
right, yeah. The stuff they came up with back then.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember when what was it? Big Boss Man went to the funeral for Big Show's father's funeral or something, and I don't know. I can't remember if they dragged the coffin out through the cemetery or yeah, it was. They came up with some crazy stories back then, but it was really good entertainment. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather be in a blindfolded match, handcuffed to your opponent, or a dog collar?
Dog collar. Blindfolded might be a little. The thing is, being blindfolded, you could make some mistakes or bump into each other
Mm-hmm.
or knock your teeth out, you break your nose. You know what I mean? The dog collar match for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. I'm okay with that. That don't bother me. But yeah, I would love to do that instead. So yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in a blindfolded match, you could cheat. I mean, the opponent won't know.
Of course. There's got to be cheating involved, right?
Right. Yeah. Definitely in matches that you could sense that it could use some cheating, like a blindfolded match.
Right. Yeah, there's always somebody's got some edge to the end of the next guy.
Right. Nowadays it's either the bloodline or it's I just had it on my mind. Well, yeah, it's usually like the bloodline that's always cheating.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yep.
he's got either holes cut in his slits cut in his mask or something so where he can see and you can't. And that's good heat. You know what I mean? That
Yep.
that always ends up to be some good heat. Somebody's cheating, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
you remember? You're probably pretty young, but you remember the old years ago when they used to do a wrestling match, and it was always can't trust the other guy. The other guy would put his hand behind his back and put it across his fingers, and then want to shake your hand. And then everybody's going,
Oh,
"No."
yep.
I mean, it was just ridiculous. It's stupid, but it was so funny because no, he's got his fingers crossed. Don't shake his hand. But people would buy into that. It was funny, but the whole crowd would pop over something as silly as that. I kind of miss
Right.
those
Yep.
because those were just good entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my favorites too, I should say, is Bobby the Brain. Bobby the Brain.
Yes, definitely.
Such a sad story with his health, but an incredible, talented man, and selling his ability to sell matches and to get heat, and his Gorilla Monsoon shows on Monday. What was it? Was it Monday Night Raw when they used to do that? Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain. They'd be on a boat, and yeah, used to do those
Yeah.
shows. But that's one of the great talents of the business. You know.
Yeah, I'm thinking it might have been Saturday night.
Oh yeah, Saturday Night Main Event, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yes, yep.
Saturday Night Main Event. That was good entertainment. Always a laugh. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're pretty familiar with everything, as young as you are. That you're on top of your game, my friend. Pretty
Oh,
impressive.
trust me, yeah. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fanatic, so like I know almost like every wrestler and everything. So yeah.
Eat, sleep, and live wrestling. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Like there's not a lot of people that might have not known who you were, because
Yeah.
you know, um, or like some of like what they called back in the day enhancement talent back in the
Yeah.
day. Um, not many people might have not known them, but there was um, I know a lot of them because I search a lot of wrestlers up in a lot of matches, and now that I do interviews, I try to get as many wrestlers as I can that's been in like the big named wrestling promotions. So yeah.
Right. And you know, a lot of people. Okay, they talk down about enhancement wrestlers or you're a nobody, and whatever. That doesn't bother me any. But you got to remember, if they're putting a guy over, if you're bringing in a Undertaker or an Ultimate Warrior or somebody, and you got to make them look incredibly powerful. It's really important to put somebody over and for them to appreciate what you've done. Because if you make Ultimate Warrior super powerful or super strong and make him look like he's throwing you around, or anybody, the Road Warriors or whatever, I mean, normally those guys will respect and appreciate what you did because you made them look like a monster or
Yep.
a force to be reckoned with. And that was our job. I mean, and some of these guys appreciated what we did, and then some of these guys just stiffed us and didn't care. And I mean, our job enhancement obviously is to put you over to become a star, the next star. And if I don't do a good job, and if I just waffle out a match or don't do the move correctly, it's going to make you look really bad. So there's a lot of disrespect for the jabronis.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, a lot of guys, I mean, Batista came out. He was, you know, they all kind of start out doing the job thing. And eventually they start paying their dues and they're back in the winning side. But, yeah, um, our job was to put people over. And if we didn't do our job right, then obviously the superstar wouldn't look that good and he may not get the contract, you know? I remember
Correct. Right.
I sat back with Ultimate Warrior once, and I was back there with Lex Luger when he was coming in. And, you know, they wanted either a little bit lighter guy, a little faster guy, a little guy easier to press. And Undertaker didn't want to go with me. He wanted something smaller, lighter to press, and a little more acrobatic. And I wasn't much of the acrobatic stuff. So he didn't go with me, and we brought in one of the other smaller guys. But same thing kind of with the Lex Luger thing. But it depends on who you're wrestling or what their gimmick is. But like I said, we make the star pretty much because
Mm-hmm.
if it doesn't go well, guess what? You're out the back door, you know. So you get a couple bad enhancement matches and they don't go well, you don't go well, you know.
Right. Yep.
So
And I mean, WWF and WCW and WWE booked them for a reason. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, they have an opportunity to become the next big thing, the next big superstar, and that's everybody's dream. And a lot of these guys, Demolition, the Hearts, everybody really appreciate what you do, and they really respect everyone. There's guys there that respect you. 80% of them do, and then there's a bunch that just stiff you. But um, there's a lot of respect there, and I want to make them look as powerful as I can and make them look as good as I can. I want to put them over. That's what I'm there for.
right.
But there's a lot of disrespect for the boys.
Yep.
It doesn't bother me with the enhancements because it is what it is.
Right. Yep. Is there any piece of merch that you have or had that is like sold out pretty quickly? If you had any,
Any type of my stuff that sold out quickly, you mean, or
yeah, have you had like any type of merch in your wrestling career?
you know what? No, a lot of the guys I was around was always either selling pictures or selling merch, and $1 pictures and a signature is another dollar or something. And of course, that's the way a lot of those guys made a few extra bucks. I didn't really do any
Yeah.
of that. I did. I just didn't do it. I can't remember if I ever did it once, but we got to go out now. We got to go make some money. So they go sit out there and they'd sign and they come back with $12 or something. You know, try to get ahead. But no, I didn't really go down that road. I didn't really try to push that. Should I? I don't. I don't know many of the guys that made much money doing that, but um, yeah, I wasn't really into the merch thing too much.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Is there any time a fan has seen you in public and got like super surprised and or excited?
Well, back when, of course, when I was busy, I mean, there was a time I was probably on television probably 5 days a week. It was like Monday Night Raw, Tuesday was ESPN Classics, Friday night. What was it? WWF's Friday night. They did something, and then Saturday night's main event. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was on quite a bit. So of course, I was pretty notarized in Minneapolis, so I'd get that a lot. You know, um, yeah. And every now and then I'll get that now. If somebody will recognize either my name or the face, but they can't put it
Mm-hmm.
together. They're trying to figure it out. And here's the funny thing is I won't tell them. So, I kind of keep them in that limbo where they don't know, and they'll go home to try to figure that out. But every now and then I'll tell somebody, but I like to keep them in the dark. But the name rings a bell. Of course, I'm in the car business, so I'm around a lot of customers. I'm in the real estate, so I'm dealing with a lot of people. So yes, it's still that every now and then it'll pop up. But back in the day, it happened quite a bit.
Right.
Actually,
Yeah.
I actually had some issues with some stalkers. I get
Oh,
stalked.
really?
Yeah, there was a guy stalking me and Christian Leitner from the Timberwolves. He would call and he'd leave crazy messages on my recordings and was following me around. I never did find out who he was or what he was doing, but he was just a freak. But um, yeah, there's always those kind of people too that they just take it a little too far. So
Right. Yeah.
uh,
Crazy. Yeah, I heard a couple of stories about that. Some wrestlers have had like stalkers here and there. So yeah.
yeah, and not all of them are fans. They're and if they don't get what they want, they get violent or they have knives or something, so they want something. If they don't get it, they're not playing with a full deck, they're going to retaliate, so it does happen. I remember there was a one there was a
Yep.
show in Minneapolis once, and Macho Man against the Ultimate Warrior in Minneapolis. There's guys getting stabbed out in the parking lot because one guy was a Macho Man fan and the other guy was an Undertaker fan. And that turned violent. There were people
Mm.
getting. These people take it pretty literally. They're in it. So
Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
mhm.
And you witnessed that, like,
uh,
personally?
I didn't witness it. I was there with a kid that was a big wrestling fan, and I found out later that some guys got stabbed based on their shirts they were wearing.
Mm.
And people just couldn't handle it. So I wrestled in the AWA where I've had people jump in the ring. I've had bikers jump in the ring when we're doing television. Um, a lot of things like that. People, who was it? Who was it? I'm trying to think of. One of the guys got stabbed coming through the entrance, getting stabbed. Somebody he's going to pat you on the back, and he got a knife in his hand, cut you in the back. But yeah, there's a lot of that stuff that goes on that you have to be careful for. You know.
Right. Yep. That was actually going to be my next question. Was there any like times that you've personally got that a fan ran into the ring and tried to attack you, or you witnessed that personally from another match?
And a fan that come into the ring. Is that what you're saying? Uh,
Correct. Yeah.
yes, it happened a couple of times. But and here's the thing: is not many people know this that when you enter that area, that boundary, you're fair game. So in other words, as far as lawsuits go, and Macho Man was part of one incident as well, but with a fan. But once they cross, a lot of wrestlers know this. Once you cross that boundary, you're free game. And if these guys want to take your head off or smash your face, wrestlers, that I mean, legally, you're in their area and you are a
Yep.
threat. So gloves come off, and they're gonna suffer for their consequences. But yeah, I had a biker jump in the ring with me, television taping, TV taping in Rochester at the Mayo Civic Center, and he was up in the ring, but I think he was just had a little bit too much to drink. I wasn't gonna hurt him, so I left him. I left him alone. Let the guys get him out of there because obviously having too much fun. Because
Right.
a lot of times as a wrestler, probably some of the greatest things is actually watching the audience or watching your fans react. Because I mean, it's you're missing quite a show in the front 3-4 rows because there's a lot of crazy things that go on in the front rows. So yes.
Yeah. Definitely. Yep. Like I think the last time there was a fan that ran into the ring, it was um like it wasn't that long ago when Seth Rollins was entrancing and
Oh yeah,
this fan.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Did he spear him or something? Did he spear him? Am I thinking of the right one? The fan speared Roman Reigns or something. Was that the one?
Oh no, it was Seth Rollins.
Excuse me, Seth Rollins. Um, but I think if that's the one I'm thinking of, he got the guy came at him, kind of speared him, and then they kind of rolled around up on the ramp. Is that the one I'm thinking about?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And a lot of these guys, they all think they're. Here's the thing: is you get guys in the audience, and they're 6'6", 300 pounds, so they're somebody, or they think they're somebody, and it doesn't matter your size or your weight or whatever. It doesn't matter because That's not what makes a guy tough. You know, I do these guys. You got to remember these wrestlers. They get banged up every night of the week, 6, 7 days a week. You want to get in a fight
Mm-hmm.
with you want to get in a fight with these guys. What are you going to stop them with? They're used to just keep going. You know, they don't stop.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just like they're animals, and they just keep going. I remember there was a bar in the Twin Cities called the Cattle Company. Okay, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
Sunday night was busy, and the Minnesota Vikings, the players used to come down and hang out there sometimes. And the minute the wrestlers would show up, they were gone because these wrestlers, you can't stop them. You not break bottles over their head or hit them with a chair, and they just keep coming at you. So, um, yeah, good luck trying to stop some of these guys because they're just unstoppable. You know.
Right. Yep. What was your reaction to getting the call, or how were you released or cut from your WWF career?
You know what? As far as getting released, um, I never really got a call, and then I never really was informed, other than Tom Rocky Stone. I mean, he would call us for bookings, and there was a little. I think a lot of times when the ratings were bad, remember they used to do the enhancement. Guys like me would go out and put somebody over. Then the ratings were getting bad, so instead of doing these matches, they were doing main event matches. Trying to bring up the ratings. So that kind of put a kibosh on the rest of us because there was no enhancement matches anymore. Plus, I do remember normally when we used to go do television tapings, Vince McMahon always liked fresh fruit, and he used to get a cornucopia of fruit out in front of his room. And then
Mm.
one of the ding dong wrestlers went and stole his fruit. He was
Dang.
walking around eating it, and that was about the time that we were done. And I don't know if it was because of him or just the fact that we had to do main event stuff after that. But after that, we never got a phone call. We just never got anything after that. We didn't hear anything back. I do remember Stone saying something like they're not going to use us or not going to use us much anymore or something. So. But yeah, not really a call or anything. We just were never told if anything was going to happen after that. So.
Right. Yep. If you could or would have one last retirement match right now in your career, who would you go up against for your retirement match?
Oh boy, and I probably want to do something with somebody that I have been working with for a while. You know what? Maybe a Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn and I, obviously, we trained together. We started the business together. We always had pretty good rhythm in the ring. So I would believe the match would turn out really good with probably me and Jeremy. So probably him.
Yeah.
Um, um, oof. Yeah, I'd probably have to say Jerry Lynn or Wayne Bloom maybe would be another one possibly. So.
Yeah. Would you have our last match if you got offered anything?
I mean, I could do it. I mean, I work out every day. I run 3 miles every third day. I mean, I can physically do it. Is it a good idea? Probably not. I got too much to lose. But you know what? Money. I mean, it'd have to be a lot of money, but nobody's going to pay any money to see that anyway. So probably not. You know what I mean? I've had some of my friends that wanted me to do some shows with them. But like I said, I don't need any glory. I don't need any of that. And there's definitely no money involved. Yes, I miss it, but I think at the end of the day, it would probably be a bad idea because
Yeah.
it's not gonna do anything for me. And here's the sad thing: is a lot of these guys they do these retirement matches, and
Yeah.
it's almost heartbreaking because these guys they shouldn't be in there. They're they're punishing their bodies, and they look. I hate to say it, they look horrible. But everybody's cheering them on because it's the retirement match, or they're, because they were a legend at some point. But it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's like Tyson getting in the ring to fight now because he's not what he was, and he shouldn't be doing it. He doesn't need the money, and it's not the same. So I see all these retirement shows, retirement matches, and it just looks horrible. You know, these guys are old and they're busted up anyways. Um,
Right.
you only get one body, my friend, and when you're 60 and busted up and you want to jump in the ring again, yeah, that's not cool. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. Like Ric Flair or Dory Funk Jr. just had a retirement match.
Yeah, I remember it wasn't that long ago, a few years ago. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was doing uh, he was doing a match, but they were doing a show to make money to fix his shoulder. I mean, you shouldn't be wrestling at that age, anyways. And then now we got to fix your shoulder, and that costs a lot of money. That's not a cheap fix. So yeah, um, your body doesn't hold together like it did when you're 20s and 30s. So
Right. Yeah. Were you part of the WWF show in 1992 when Nails in Green Bay, Wisconsin, when Nails attacked
I
Vince
was
McMahon?
I was there. I was
You were?
there, and I talked to Kevin before it happened.
Oh,
And
really?
oh yeah, I knew Kevin. I knew Kevin. Actually, Kevin's in my area over here in Minnesota,
Hmm.
and he's kind of in the back area in town. He's in the southwest. He's in the South Metro, Minneapolis. Kevin is a bad. I mean, he's a scary dude. He's a big dude. He used to win tough man competitions in town. Kevin's
Hmm.
nothing to mess with. And I remember I used to bounce downtown St. Paul. And then on St. Patty's Day, I'd see Kevin walking down the street. He would just beat people up just in the street, just for something to do. He used to wear wore a long black leather cape, leather jacket, and he was just a monster. But I always got along good with Kevin, and I've always liked Kevin. I think, and then Kevin told me uh, Kevin got a bad deal uh, with that because Kevin wasn't getting much. He wasn't getting paid much for that deal, and he was pissed. And they said, "Okay, if your interviews get better, we're going to pay you more." So Kevin said, "I'm ticked off. My interviews are good, my wrestling's good, and I'm mad." And he said, "I'm going to have a talk with Vince." And we were in the room. There was like 3, 4 of us in the room with Kevin at the time. And then
Hmm.
we left the room, and then Vince came in, and I was right there. Then they were in it for a little bit, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 I hearing stuff going on in there. And then Vince came out, running out, and then the security was in there. They kind of broke it up. And then from what I gather, I think Nails filed a sexual harassment charge against Vince. Am I correct? Is that right? Something like that? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. For
Something like that.
allegations. Yeah.
And I think is when it got to the court, I believe the charges were dropped. But I think they came in and got Vince that night. I think he wasn't at the show. They took him away. So
Yeah.
I think there was probably a reason for Kevin to be upset because he's like all the other guys that they're not making any money. This is a hard life. and you promise something, you promise more money, you promise things to get better, and you just keep going, hoping they're going to get better, and they don't. So I think probably Kevin had a reason to be upset. Did he handle it the right way? Maybe not. But it is what it is, and it turned out to be kind of ugly. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy to hear that you were right there then.
I was right there, my friend. That's no BS. I was in the ring. I was in the room talking with him before it happened. And
wow, and then you were right outside the room.
I was right outside the door. Yep. And then they blew the doors open, and Vince came out. He was a little. I think Kevin grabbed him and was roughing him up in there. We are going to do something. They broke it up, and then they got Vince out. Of course, Vince is he's no sissy either. He's a big dude, and he's a tough guy. But yeah, Kevin's a monster, man. You don't want to be on the bad side of Kevin, So yes, yeah.
Nowadays, when he does appearances for stuff, he still looks kind of scary.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure he would. Have you seen him lately? Is he coming around or no?
Not like recently, but I think he was like the most recent on top of my head. I think he was at a WrestleCade, like a big name signing event.
Yeah.
But I think that's the last thing he's did WrestleCade. So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't seen him around much, but I know he's down in the Farmington area. Yeah, I think he's got some land down there. And actually, I know he was like into selling trailers or doing business selling car trailers or something like that. But that's the last I remember. And he always into 4x4s and big trucks and stuff like that too. So big Dodge Ram. I think he was a big Dodge Ram guy.
Wow.
Oh, I remember somebody broke the Ram off his hood, and he went in. I think we were at a show, and he said, "Who broke the Ram off my hood?" Somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they pointed at one of the other wrestlers, and Kevin attacked him, and it was ugly, but it wasn't the truth because that guy had no idea. Somebody threw this guy under the bus, but I can't remember who that person was, but somebody ripped the Ram head off his Dodge Ram, and he was hot, and he came in looking for vengeance. It was not joking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be on the other end of Nails' backlash. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Nails doesn't sound like someone you want to mess with.
Yes. Right.
But he's also not much of a talker either at like things that he goes to. But he's also like a really rare appearance. So yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't talk much.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to talk. He's kind of to himself. He's kind of a loner,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when he was with Sherry Martel. I used to see him at the airport quite a bit, and yeah, he didn't talk. He's not much of a talker. I mean, like Brock Lesnar doesn't normally outside the ring. He doesn't want to talk to nobody. He doesn't want to be around nobody. He doesn't like being around people. And I think same thing goes for Nails as well. He wasn't a people person per se.
Right. Yeah. Who is your favorite horror character and favorite horror movie if you have one?
Oh boy, a horror movie. You know what? The old. Gosh, I just watched one too. Not the old Poltergeist, but the. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. George C. Scott, I think, was in one of them. It was to do with the devil and the. But I'm drawing a blank here. Those were pretty scary back then. And then, of course, the Hellraisers movies were pretty scary as well. The early ones, Hellraisers
Yep.
were good. Um, yeah. Yeah. I'd say those are probably some of the top ones.
Definitely, yeah. I'm like a big fan of Chucky, so
Oh,
yeah,
really? Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, Chucky's were great too. Actually, the
yeah.
Freddy, Freddy Krueger movies were good as well. You know.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Definitely, probably Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers is definitely on the top list of.
Don't go to sleep. All right.
Right. Freddie and Michael will come up out of my bed, you know.
Right. Well, yeah. If you got really in tune to Freddy Krueger, then you were tired and you would just watch the movies. You were afraid to sleep. It was a great gimmick because you know you don't want to fall asleep because you're thinking Freddy's coming, so you're trying to stay awake. It gets in your head, So yeah, that's a
Yep.
brilliant idea.
If a movie was made about your career, who would you want to play you?
Oh man, uh, boy, Bruce Willis maybe. Uh, I would probably say, I'd probably say Bruce Willis. Um, um, yeah, I would say Bruce Willis. I was never asked that question before, but I would probably say Bruce.
Yeah, that one. That I could see it. Yeah, that would actually not be bad at all.
I've been told that I resemble him somewhat, but anyways, I think you'd fit the bill. Anyways, of course, he's such a icon, right? He's been in so many
Right.
great.
Yep.
He's been in so many great movies that why would you not want him to play you? So
Yep.
it's unfortunate with his health right now. He's not doing so well.
Yep. I'm not really caught up on what's wrong with him much, but
Oh, what has he got? Dementia. Yeah, dementia.
oh, okay.
Not remembering any. He's getting in maybe the final stages. I'm afraid we're going to hear some bad news with him in the near future because I think he's slipping pretty fast. And yeah, I was a big fan of Bruce Willis, and that's a horrible thing to hear about him. So
Yep. Now I remember because I seen it on the news one time. Yeah.
hmm yeah, really unfortunate.
Yep. What is generally your favorite music to listen to in your spare time?
Man, well, um, I'll go. I'll go hard rock. I'll go hard rock to uh, legendary Pink Floyd, Deep Purple. I'm a big Led Zeppelin guy, and I'll go back to uh, Snoop Dogg, uh,
Mm.
uh, Ice Cube, Ludacris. I'll go into the rap. Eminem's hell of a rapper. Um, and then I'll also go into uh, Jack Harlow and a lot of the new rap. Uh, I listen to Halsey. I listen to Dua Lipa. I listen to, a lot of times when I'm working out, listen to the new top music, Dua Lipa, Halsey, even Billie Eilish, even, that's all pretty good. It's really good music. Um, the Weekend or something, but I kind of bounce.
Yeah.
But and then depends on the mood. Then I'm normally in my office, might be listening to some Led Zeppelin, some AC/DC. Um, pretty. And actually, I'll listen to some classical too. Depends on the mood, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? What do you like? Oh, you're a rocker.
I Yep.
Wow,
I
you're a
like I like Kiss, Slipknot.
Slipknot. Yep. Right. Right.
Um, but then there's pop music. I like that's like my main stay is pop.
Yep.
I listen to a lot of that because I'm in choir and band in school, so um, part of that, and I can sing. So I'm a fan of singing like pop music, and then I'm also into rap, some rap here and there, and
Okay.
then yeah,
Nice. So you can sing, huh?
yeah.
Nice. Well, maybe sometime you'll have to do a show where we're watching you instead of you interviewing us. Maybe,
Right.
right? Yeah,
Maybe, yeah.
that could happen.
Mm-hmm. If you got to choose the stipulation for your match, what stipulation would you choose?
Oh, what is it? Maybe a loser leaves town match? One of those things?
Oh yeah.
Loser leaves town, hit the road. I always thought that was always a good gimmick, too, because nobody wanted to see their guy lose. You know what I mean? So, loser leaves town
Mm-hmm.
match. You know, that'd be good.
Yeah,
I,
it's definitely cool
are you a fan of
when
Matt Riddle?
yeah.
That's one. Uh, I think one guy with a lot of talent that people don't realize what he holds. And actually, in his MMA career, I think he's the only guy that beat John Jones. But that was back in college wrestling. But Matt Riddle's an incredible talent. I think that guy um, is one of the most dangerous guys in the business, even though people don't really understand that. But it's a dangerous man. Or could
Right.
be.
Yep.
He could be if he wants to. You know.
Yep. Yeah, I actually got his autograph from a virtual signing. So
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah. And I think WWE could have used him better. Uh, and they didn't really use him to his full potential as a singles competitor. I would say I think he could have done a lot more better in as a singles competitor and like possibly hold the world title.
yeah,
But
yeah. You know what? There's never a fair opportunity in the business. Do you remember the Warlord Terry Zabinski? Terry, the Warlord.
oh yep, yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I used to work out with Terry, and I was pretty close with Terry. Okay. And the guy was a phenom. He was like 330. I mean, he made Hogan look so small. However, they never gave him little to nothing, and they just squashed him and never gave him an opportunity. But there was a lot of guys with a lot of talent, and it's all about who you know. It doesn't matter how good, how big, how fast, how great you are. It's who you know, and that goes with almost anything, with Hollywood, with music, and anything. You got to know the right people. You can be the very best singer, the very best band, but if you don't get somebody that gives you an opportunity or get you a contract, it's not fair. Just because you have talent doesn't mean you're going to go somewhere. You have to have a connection. In the wrestling business,
Right.
great talent, never a chance. You know, and
Yep.
there's guys that are friends of the promoters, and they're horrible, and they look horrible. However, they're there every night on the show. They're getting paid. You know. So I think I lost you there, my friend. Blakester? And he's back.
Yeah, we both went up that time.
I was worried about you, man.
So, when you were growing up, were you more of like a shy, quiet kid or outgoing, loud, and excited?
You know what? Normally I would probably be on the shy side. However, I was the outgoing leader. You know, I kind of ran the show. You know, but normally I'm a kind of quiet. You know what? I'm not there to try to promote or belittle or do something against somebody to make myself better. But I normally was a leader all the time. But naturally, I'm kind of a quiet. I'll leave people alone. But yeah, I normally was outgoing when I got, especially getting older and getting bigger, and the wrestling even in high school, and the notoriety that I would get. You know, so you know that kind of feeds off. That feeds off everything. You know.
Yeah. So, what is one thing you would tell your wrestling fans?
Don't do drugs. You know, the wrestling fans, about the wrestling business. I guess as far as the wrestling fans go, I hope they enjoy the business. However, some of these people take it too much to heart, and it's only entertaining. And just learn to enjoy it, and the type of work that these guys put into putting on these shows. And of course, the big thing in wrestling is fake. You know, the ring is a trampoline and it doesn't hurt. These guys get busted up and beat up daily, and a lot of it, obviously, it's for the entertainment, you know, aspect, and
Yeah.
understand that there's a lot of work and effort that goes into a lot of these shows and these guys, and it's so people that want to get into the business too. Careful what you wish for, because it's a brutal business, and you can be the biggest, the greatest, the strongest, and it doesn't. You know, it's Ronda Rousey. I'm sure she can. You're familiar with the Punisher? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. MMA champion, the Punisher, Don Fry, the Predator. You know who he is?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, if you get a chance, listen to his UFC Hall of Fame speech, and he's with Dan Severn, Dan the Beast Severn, who also got into the wrestling business, but he got out of the MMA business and was going to transition. He talks about this in his Hall of Fame speech, but he says, "I thought it'd be an easy transition to go from MMA to professional wrestling." He said, "Boy, was I wrong."
Yeah.
Because the beating and the body damage that he got in professional wrestling is brutal, and they're finding this out. You know, I'm sure Ronda Rousey can tell you, and
Yeah.
and I think Gable Stevenson. I don't know what happened. He was supposed to be signed with the WWE, and I think now he's going to play football. I don't know what happened there. Are you familiar with that or no?
Yeah, he actually got released from the WWE, and then actually reports earlier today he got released off of his contract in football from where he was signed with. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was from Apple Valley. He was a wrestler here in the Twin Cities, and actually, my daughter knew him because my daughter was part of the Prior Lake wrestling team. She was one of the stat girls here in town. So yeah, we're familiar with him. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but um, uh, body damage, politics, the whole rat race in the wrestling business. And one of the toughest guys there is, Gable Stevenson's no joke. But I don't know what happened, but he's no longer part of it. So
Yep.
it's tough life, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then his brother Diamond Kemp just recently got released from WWE too. Well, no, actually his contract let go, and he just let his contract let go, and so yeah, he's done with WWE too.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Where do you go from here? Now, where can they go, or where does Gable go? You know.
Right. I usually they have a 90-day no complete cause. If they get released, only if they only have a 90-day no complete clause, so you can't go anywhere else or go anywhere to like wrestling promotions or anything with wrestling. Um, but if your contract ends, you can go do stuff. Um, but usually they go back into wrestling for other promotions.
Or a smaller independent, or maybe he'll. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he can go to AEW, or maybe he can go to another football team. Who knows? But I'm sure his
Right.
dream. I'm sure his dreams were crushed or didn't go as planned. That's just life. But hopefully he'll find something that works.
Yeah. So for the last question tonight,
Yes, sir.
do you do you have any advice for me to become a wrestler?
For you to become a wrestler, do you want to be a wrestler?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. All right. Well, um, like I said, it's. I'm sure it's. I'm sure it's your love and your passion, and you'd love to do it. I would try to talk you out of it because the end result is not what you expect. I mean, it's okay to dream or to chase your dreams. I'd say, I mean, go for it, but there's a time and a place where you get to a point in your life and says either, hey, this isn't for me, or it was great while it lasted. But you get one body, and maybe you can get an opportunity somewhere where if you're not 6'6", 300 pounds, but they'll give you a chance with your athletics and your ability to fly. But you know, I guess I don't want to stop you from your dreams, but I also concerned for your well-being as well. So if,
Yeah.
if it's meant to be, and you wanna if you wanna go down that road, I guess I wish you well. But just just remember, I mean, I got to a point where I was probably 26 years old, and I thought, I'm not making any money. It's a lot of drama, a lot of stress. I'm on the road. You don't get to sleep. You're broke. You don't have money to fix your car. That's all of that goes into play. And you're on the road, your car breaks down, and you're not making any money. So
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, that's the life they live. So if you try it for a few years and you give it your all for a few years, and if it doesn't pan out, then just don't. I don't want to hear you at 50 years old still trying to be somebody because the 40s and 50s and you're all busted up. So chase your dreams. I always tell my daughters and my kids, if you have a passion for something, go for it. But just make sure that's what you want. So I'm not here to stop
Yeah.
you. I'm just looking out for you. sure.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, right on, man. I see young guys like you with a dream, and I condone you for your podcast or your shows and your passion for something. That's fantastic. Uh, I respect that, and I'm glad you're chasing your dreams, and hopefully you'll get to where you want to go in life. And it might lead to something else. This is a big boost for you for your future. So and don't be
Right.
afraid. And don't be afraid to fail. Fail is a good thing because when you fail, you learn and you make yourself better. You go a different route. So don't be afraid.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I wish you the best.
You too. And I can't thank you enough for taking your time out to do this interview. It was a pleasure to have you on here.
Well, thank you so much for reaching out to me, and I'm glad we did this. And guys our age, we're normally going to bed pretty fast. So my wife, we get up at 3:50 a.m. So that comes pretty fast. So yeah, right. So my bedtime's normally about 8:30. So here we are. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
best of luck to everything you do. And I wish you the utmost success. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. And I hope I can get you on here for maybe like a part 2 sometime.
Okay. I have to find some more information for you, right? Right. Some new topics, right? Right on.
Right.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Blake.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good rest of your night.
You too, my friend. All right. Bye bye.